All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and write the equation of the parabola in vertex form, state the domain and range in interval notation. On number 1, we know that the vertex is -3, -4. So remember, when you go to write that in the equation, the -3 has to be opposite in the parentheses. Do not forget the squared exponent. So now that I have this, I got to go grab the a value. And remember, the only way we can grab the a value is if we look at movements. If I go 2 vertical or 2 horizontal movements, that's going to bring me up 2 places. So let's think about the a value. The a value is going to be something multiplied by -2 squared. -2 squared is essentially 4a, so that is just going to be 4a equals 2. What does that number have to be? It has to be a fraction because the product is less, and that fraction is 1/2. Domain is always negative to positive infinity, and the range. So remember, that graph opens up forever. If the graph opens up forever, then we know that it's going to have a minimum at that k value of -4, and then it closes out at positive infinity. Let me erase this work here. Let's take a look at number 2. So first of all, for number 2, the a value is negative. And I know that the a value is negative because the graph opens down. Let's go ahead and take a look at the vertex. The vertex on this is going to be 2, 8. So y equals, I'm going to draw my setup here. Notice it's -2 in parentheses, tag that +8 at the end. So let's find the a value. Again, for the a value, I go over 1, and this time I go down 3 places. So -1 times the a squared is going to be a -3. Y'all, -1 squared is just 1. So the a value is just a -3. So -3 is going to go in front of those parentheses. All right, let's take a look at this set. Graph each function, then determine the vertex, the axis of symmetry, domain, range, y-intercept, number of x-intercepts, max and min value, and all transformations from the parent function. Number 3, we know it opens up because the a value is positive. I know the vertex is 2, -3. So let's go ahead and graph that and go ahead and graph the axis of symmetry. Remember, the axis of symmetry is x equals 2. And then, since the a value is just 1, I can go ahead and do 1 squared, which would give me 1 place up. -2 squared would give me 2 places up. And the blue are the symmetrical points. So use your axis of symmetry to get those points, connect it, and we are ready to move on from that parabola. The axis of symmetry is x equals 2. Y'all know domain. Now the range, it goes up forever, so the minimum is -3, and then it goes up to positive infinity. So for your y-intercept, that is wrong. You need to come talk to me about my mistake and tell me what that y-intercept is really. Tell me what that mistake is. I bet there might be something in it for you. Maybe a little extra credit. All right, so now x-intercepts, it crosses that x-axis twice. And then the minimum is that k value, which is -3. So you're going to do the same thing for number 4. But before I move on, let's talk about transformations. All you have are translations for this one. 2 units to the right, 3 units down. But on number 4, you have an a value of 1/2. That is a vertical compression, and that is by a factor of 1/2. So don't forget to have that on your transformations for number 4. So let's go ahead and take a look at number 7. Write the equation for the quadratic function after the given transformations from the parent function. All right, so horizontal shift 3 right. I get to use f of x because it did say function. So that's going to be an x -3 in the parentheses. Don't forget to square it. The vertical reflection, that just means a negative in front. And then vertical shift up 4 plus 4, that's it. That's all you do for that one. Let's look at 9 and 10. On 9 and 10, it says to identify the domain, range, and axis of symmetry from the quadratic equation shown below. All right, so if you go ahead and take a look at number 10, y'all know domain. Let me knock this out real quick. Negative to positive infinity. Okay, so for the range is going to have a 2 in it. But remember that a value is negative. So that 2 is actually going to be the highest that graph gets, which means we're going to start with negative infinity and then wrap it up with that positive 2. And your axis of symmetry is just going to be that h value, which is positive 4. And that's how you're going to do that one. All right, please go ahead and knock out the rest of this. You can check your answers in Canvas, and it's due tomorrow.